boots and grab your socks.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
This is the old Moonshine Sergeant. My client needs one of these, but they don't make them anymore. So I made these instead. I sent them right over to him, and then he did this with it. Pretty cool, huh? This is a great one. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Steve from Natural Selection Angling, and this video starts the way a lot of my jobs start, with an email asking if I can do something special. So this guy Derek sent me an email, asked me to make something special. I told him I can definitely make special things. Then he sent me a couple of pictures of what he wants, and it's a Moonshine Sergeant. So I told him 100% can do it. How many you need? And what sizes? And we were off like a prom dress, people. So we're going to start from the position of having primed blanks ready to go. To get to this point, if you don't know how, watch this video about how to make glow spoons. It'll get you there. Okay, so we got them primed, and now we're going to knock down the surface on these so that we can add some glow epoxy, right? We're just going to scrub them down real good and make sure that they don't have any shiny spots on them and that they're ready to go. And I'm using the green pad for this because 400 grit sandpaper is just going to tear right through that paint and there'll be none left. And you'll see when I take them down with the green pad, it's a hex spoon, right? So there's high spots on it where the paint will basically come right off. I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to use a very thick epoxy glow layer on it, and it's going to cover all that up. We just want to make sure that we have a good white base layer because that's going to make the glow really pop. So we'll clean them up, and once we get them cleaned off with ISO 99, I'm going to let them dry for about 20-30 minutes to make sure that the paint hasn't gotten a little spongy and soft. The reason I used ISO 99 is because it evaporates right away and it avoids this problem mostly. I'm going to clean off the back of these spoons because I need to stick a piece of tape to it so that I can glue a chopstick to that so that I can put these into the turner later. And so I can paint them and not handle them with my hands. All right, these are looking pretty good. We'll get out the masking tape and the hot glue gun and a pile of chopsticks, and we'll just glue these on. Once we get these set up, we're going to go ahead and start applying some heavy glow layers. And the reason that I'm using epoxy to do these spoons instead of painting is because the final pattern is pretty dicey. Like, I could definitely see myself messing this up and having to do it a couple of times. And if the glow base is made from epoxy, I can just scrub the paint right back off and start over. Now, if I were just painting something with some dots on it or something simple like that, that I know I can't mess up, that there's no schematic for, and nobody's expecting a certain result, yeah, sometimes I'll just paint them with the airbrush. So I've mixed up the epoxy here, and I've added green glow powder to it at a ratio of about 4 parts of epoxy to 1 part of glow powder. If you want to see the complete tutorial on this, check out this video called Absolutely Amazing Process. It'll show you from start to finish how to do everything you ever wondered about with epoxy glow coats. Now, I never warm the epoxy up. I just like it to be cool so that it stays thicker. And then essentially 2 coats is good enough for every application. Now, if you want to know how to do this using the airbrush, watch this video, How to Make Glow Spoons. Watch the part about how to spray on the glow coating. It's looking pretty good. Going in the turner. There they are. You can see the glow's a little bit patchy on the first coat, but the second coat takes care of that. So 6 hours later, we added a second coat and let them turn overnight. in the incubator, and this is what we have. And now you can see that, you know, the epoxy layer takes out all the texture from the hex spoon, which is why I want to use epoxy. Another reason, because it's going to help the stencil lay flat when I start to lay down the paint. All right, guys, you know what's up here. We're going to sand again. The sanding I'm doing here is going to be deep enough that I can lay down all of the paint, and there's still going to be plenty of tooth left for the clear coat on top. Get these nice and clean. Get them ready for the next step. All right, so now I got to lay out the design, and I have to determine where the pattern lays out in relation to the rest of the spoon, and the tip of the second black chevron appears to be right in the middle of the spoon. This is one of those times where you really have to observe the 6 P's. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. If we're going to have a good looking symmetrical product when we're done, this step's really essential. That looks about right. Now, of course, there's no chevron stencil out of the box that's going to work, so I got this for like $1.50 from the Hobby Jesus, and I just literally cut these out one at a time and piece them back together the way they need to be for this pattern. And then before I go too far with it, I'm going to test it and make sure it works. So I'm going to lay it out against a bare spoon, and then I'm just going to fill in the chevrons with a marker and take a look at it and see where it is. Okay, yeah, that's gonna work. That's good. All right, so now I've finished off the stencil and taped it down with some 100-mile-an-hour black tape, and I'm gonna paint it twice and dry it with a hair dryer in between, and let's see what we have. I hate this part because you never know what you're gonna get. Okay, so I can see right away this is not up to par. It's no good, man. The stencil wasn't held down enough in the front, and there's a ton of overspray. This is no good. I'm going to wipe it off and do it again, but this time I'm going to add some more of this 100-mile-an-hour tape and really truss this thing up so it can't move. All right, now we're looking good. That's what we're looking for, guys, right there. Nice and clean, virtually no overspray. All right, now on to the little brother. Fortunately here, there was a chevron pattern that had the right size chevrons, so I just taped off 2 and left the third one open, so every third one is open, and that works. Again, I'm going to test it before I go any further, and that looks good. So the idea here is to lay down the black chevrons and then shift the stencil and come back in and lay down the green chevrons. All right, that looks pretty good. It does have a little bit of overspray, and I'll clean that up with a cotton swab and a little bit of tap water. So I did adjust the stencil just a little bit here and added some more black tape across the middle to really keep it tight. And the result now is really good. All right, there's virtually no overspray. That looks really good. So I'm just giving him an update here. This was a lot of work, and I'm starting to worry that when I lay down the green chevrons, it's just going to get super busy and it's not going to look good. It's going to be crowded and interfere with the glow. Okay, so I just ran it by him and said, here's where we're at now. What do you think if I do a little bit of dotting instead? And so he comes back and he says, is it just a single green dot between the chevrons? And I'm thinking, maybe 3 dots between. Now, this is going to allow the glow to work and the contrast to work a little better. I mean, if you look at the original spoon, it's pretty crowded. So I'm waiting for him to get back to me. So I'm just going to move on to the stuff that I can do. And so I've taped these spoons off, and I'm going to do the red rim. Okay. And normally I would do this in the paint booth, but I want to show it to you because there's a way that I'm painting this, and I'm only using about half of the cone of paint that's emerging from the nozzle and kind of letting the other half fall off the edge, always painting down and away from the gun, down and away from the gun. And this leaves a nice rim of permanent red, but also kind of has a soft inside edge, which looks a lot better than if you were going to tape this off like a pinstripe. And you'll see just it looks softer and better. So you can hear the compressor just running constantly, and it's because I'm not releasing paint all the time. I'm painting a little bit and then I'm flashing it dry with just air and no paint. And so I keep doing that, paint, dry, because I don't want to do more than 2 coats here. I just want to get it done and go to the next step. Looking pretty good. Everything's going according to plan so far. All right, we're going to move on and get the eye spot done. This is going to get a large red eye spot, and then it's going to get a raised 3D eye with silver holographic backing and a black pupil. The original spoon uses a flat eye, but I think this is really cool with the 3D, and you'll see how nice it comes out. Got a little water on the glove from washing out the airbrush. And I'll just gently peel the tape off. And that's where we are so far. Again, everything's going according to plan. Looks good. Derek gets back to me and he says, go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish them off the way we talked about. And keep it moving. I'm using a dotting tool here that has about a 1.5 millimeter tip on it. And I'm trying to keep everything symmetrical and work with my right-handedness. That's my skilled hand. So I'm going to put all the dots down the middle first and make sure they're perfectly centered and equally spaced. And then that gives me what I need to do the rest. Right? We're going to pivot off the center one and line them up with the outside ones. And then rather than try to reach across the work, I just turn the work around and continue to use my dominant hand on the dominant side. And I really like the way this is looking. It looks so much better than that green chevron because it just opens the space up. You still get that pop of color, but there's more negative space there to allow the glow to work. It also helps, really spark off the contrast if you have some space. Now I'm going to put these 3D eyes on, and I'm going to use a gel super glue to make sure they stay in place. These are for king salmon. They're going to get torn up. These fish are big and strong and have big teeth, and I just want to make sure these are well constructed so they survive the encounter. Now, I like using the gel super glue because it stays where I put it and it sort of forms a little cushion and I can move the eye around. And when I get it right where I want, I just push straight down on it. So these 4 3/4 inch spoons, they're getting 8mm eyes, and these 3 3/4 inch spoons are getting 6mm eyes to just keep everything in proportion. These are starting to look fire, guys. You can see if you look close how much tooth there is left on the piece. You can see the striations in the epoxy. So there's plenty of tooth left for the top layer. Definitely don't try to, 40-30 these and sand them. Go ahead and 40-30 them, but don't sand them. The risk versus reward ratio is far too big here. You don't want to make a critical error at this point. So hit them with the 40-30 clear, and then go ahead and put your top coat of epoxy on. You can watch this video here, and it'll explain everything about the setup and how to get a perfect clear coat every single time. And when I apply this, I usually start with, the method I use is what I call features first. So I'm going to do this raised eye and around the raised eye first, and then I'm going to do the rest. Just give it a nice even coat. Don't worry too much about what it looks like. You're going to put it in the turner and it's going to self-level. And you'll see as I'm doing these that I'm constantly turning them laterally and longitudinally, getting an incident angle from my work lights so I can see if I've missed anything. Your eyes get pretty fatigued by this point too, so you have to check everything carefully. This looks good. Going in the turner. They're popping, man. So 6 hours later, I'll put the second coat on them. They're still going to be tacky. They're dry and tacky, but they're not cured. Again, I'll just follow my method, hit the features first, and then work from the top of the spoon to the bottom of the spoon. That looks good, man. Like, really good. Notice how much I'm fussing with it. It's the last coat, right? It's the second one. It's the last one I'm going to do. And boy, oh boy, did these come up nice, huh? Look at that thing, guys. Pretty complicated. Pretty hard project to do. But we got the job done. They glow like mad too, huh? Really nice looking pieces, man. What's so cool about this too is, when I sent them to the guy, literally the very first set where he put one of these down, they caught that king. So it just made me feel really good when I got the news. Now, I made a beautiful finish on these, right? I don't want to scuff it, scratch it, chip it, rip it. So I just put a piece of masking tape over the spoon and I put the split ring on through the masking tape. Once the split ring is safely in place, I peel off the masking tape and that finish is perfect. Now, the hook side. Sometimes I'll do this differently, but I'm using a 3X hook here and a number 7 split ring. So this is really the limit of this ring. Okay, so I have to put the hook on and I have to put the spoon on. So the way I'm going to decide which goes first here is I'm going to do the one that's harder to do first, because I don't want to damage the spoon struggling with the hard part when I'm trying to finish. Okay, so in this case, that hook is really thick. So I got that on first, and now I'm going to go ahead and just apply the split ring the same way I did the other one. Pop it through the tape, keep it open while I turn it, be gentle, and then peel off the tape. Man, that came out really good. So happy with this. Pretty fishy, right? Alright guys, it was 4 days, 4 spoons, and 42 emails communicating with my customer. But that's how we do. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the alert bell so you don't miss anything important. Like, I don't know, maybe this. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.